J to the sit, 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 J to the sit,
J to the S-I-N.
J to the sit, 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 J to the sit,
J to the S-I-N.
Congratulations, ladies and gentlemen, you have tuned into your break into the matrix that we like to call the J to the Sin Show. I'm your host, J to the Sin, with the light skin blend. Comfy in my skin as I intend to offend. No chasing a gin, keep a 20 twin. Joe Biden for the win. Tell a motherfucking friend, bitch. And we are here for another installment of what I like to call the realest show you'll ever see on this World Wide Web, a special post-election 2020 edition. And I'm here to give it to you, culturally unbiased, politically incorrect, but with all due respect. And with that said, let's get into it. It's the first segment of the show. You know I'm locked and loaded. You know it's hot and heavy. It's the WTF report, and I promise you actually might be ready for this one. I mean, we've been waiting for like 4 years for this shit. It's the WTF report. It's the WTF report. It's the WTF report. All right, people, let's get into it. This week's WTF report. Let's start off with something real positive in the news on this special election edition of the WTF report. 4 states have decriminalized marijuana on this here election day. Let's go, people. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. South Dakota, Arizona, Montana, and New Jersey. Salute to you for finally putting this on the ticket and pushing it through. I don't have a single clue why this is not across the board in all 50 states. I mean, since the state of Colorado has legalized marijuana, the state has generated $1 billion in state revenue. That's with a B. It's only took them 3.5 years to get it to $500 million. So what are these other states waiting for? Legalize it, people. I see a lot of people out there questioning how things are gonna get paid for. Here you go. And some studies have actually proven that crimes in Colorado have decreased since legalization. Stop being stupid, America. It's time to legalize it and get on with life. Roll that shit, light that shit, smoke that shit, blow that shit out, then pass the Dutchie to the left hand side. And next up on the WTF report, in other news, the state of Oregon has went all the way in, and they have decriminalized some harder drugs, letting their residents know, hey man, get high, it's okay. You're gonna do it anyway, right? Which is facts. Passing Measure 110 means Oregon residents no longer can be arrested or imprisoned for possessing small amounts of substances such as heroin, cocaine, methamphetamine, or LSD. That doesn't mean that the drugs are legal now. Instead, the measure reduces the offense to a non-criminal offense and the maximum fine of $100, and mandates establishing an addiction treatment program funded in part by what? Taxes from marijuana sales. Well, there you go. My point has been proven from the last story, has it not? Let's get it together, other states in America. And for the critics, listen, I do not condone drug use. Drugs are addictive and can and will ruin your life. To all the kids out there that may be watching the J to the Sin show, drugs can and will ruin your life. So to anybody out there believing it's cool, it is not. However, I also don't condone the prison system being filled up with nonviolent crimes for petty drug violations. So this is the first and bold step for Oregon, and I'm behind them 100%. Salute to you, goddammit, from the J to the Sin show. Next up on the WTF report, let me get this announced, please. Howard University, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. Please stand the fuck up, as you can now add to the list of fine people that are alumni and or sisterhood of your fine organizations, the first woman to hold the seat of vice president of the United States. That is incredible. History has been made as Senator Kamala Harris is now Vice President-elect of the United States of America. All HBCUs, all fraternities, and sororities should be proud of this moment. I'm pretty sure that the trumpets and the pander puppets are as mad about this even more than they were when Barack Obama was elected to office. But ask me if we give a damn. So one of the problems that Republicans had in this 2020 election was that re-electing Donald Trump wasn't going to be historic at all. At least not in a good way. He's still just an old white man that did a horrible job in these last 4 years. But what did you expect from an unqualified, inexperienced person? But the first woman vice president is without a doubt a historic moment. Now, with that said, I hope she knows that we have in no way, shape, or form forgot her previous record as prosecutor in the state of California. And it is definitely something that she will need to keep in mind in these next 4 years in her new position. And I'll get into that in detail more later. Congratulations to Vice President Kamala Harris. We are definitely looking forward to seeing what you do in this position. And we here at the J2dasin show will definitely be on your ass to help the community that put you in the seat. So what else does that leave me with in this special 2020 election edition of the WTF Report, people? Yep, you got it. Biden 2020 is here. The election couldn't have come fast enough for me. I swear 2020 has felt like it took 10 years to even get through. Lord have mercy. We have witnessed, ladies and gentlemen, what it feels like to hire a person that is unqualified and inexperienced for the position. And frankly, just like the 77 plus other million people in America, we're tired of it. And Donald Trump, you sir, are fired. Joe Biden is now president-elect and the soon-to-be 46th president of the United States. I say scrap 45 and give him 45. That's my personal opinion. But the Trump train has come to an emergency stop at full speed and derailing off the track in epic fashion. Now, I want to say this. First to start, I have been in the mix in Trump's social media and other Republican social media outlets for the past 4 years, and I swear I feel like I've been in college majoring in advanced political science with a minor in psychiatry. It's amazing how many smart, ignorant people are still in this country in this day and age, for real. After the first 2 years, it's just been a straight roller coaster of continuing to inform idiots how stupid they really sound. But then having to come to the realization that they are actually willfully ignorant. Meaning you can present facts to them that destroys their whole argument. And they will ignore those facts and start a new argument. It's just the most asinine thing I've ever seen in my life. And it's all coming to a screeching halt at this point, and I couldn't be more thankful to God and the minority communities that made it happen. But I have to say, I know more about politics and the just horrific history of this country more than I have ever known in my entire life. And that is because of Donald Trump. And what it has made me is even more of an independent. That's what's really needed right now, I believe, in this country is an independent candidate with some real support behind him. However, ladies and gentlemen, this is a bittersweet victory because even though it's great to see the administration ended after one term, it is incredibly disappointing to see that over 70 million people still voted for Donald Trump. It shows us that we are still living in a majorly bigoted and racist country, still here on the verge of 2021. And it's disgusting, to be honest. So of course, now that Trump has lost, and he did lose, what is his panda puppet saying? Let's take a look.
People out there calling for recounts that are unsubstantiated based on no evidence. This was a legitimate election, and no one should question the fact that Donald Trump is the president-elect.
Hillary is on her sore loser tour, and now we have her going through recounts. You know what she needs to do? She needs to get over it. She lost. Yeah. Get out of the way and let Donald Trump be president.
Do you think the Democrats are sore losers? Yeah, I do.
The reality is they're a bunch of spoiled crybabies.
Newsflash for many of the partisan Democrats and those in the mainstream media who continue to try to delegitimize President-elect Trump's massive and historic win last month. The election's over. Hillary Clinton lost. You have to win 270 electoral votes to be elected president, and President-elect Trump actually got 306. This is all really just an effort to try to delegitimize the win.
The left's going to lie. The left's going to besmirch. They're going to go crazy.
Now.
They can't accept the election results, let alone the fact that he's actually going to solve problems.
They have to decide whether they're going to interfere with him finishing his business, interfere with the peaceful transfer of power to President-elect Trump and Vice President-elect Pence, or if they're going to be a bunch of crybabies and sore losers about an election that they can't turn around.
Oh, my bad. That was 2016 election. Here you go.
Democrats are refusing to accept the declared results of the national media. So how do they do this? Lo and behold, they find missing ballots.
The radical left is attacking the sanctity of our votes,
refusing to accept the midterm election results. So what if these were Republicans refusing to concede?
Democrats may see how they'll be able in the future to steal elections through lawsuits that they can't win with the voters.
Ramping up election conspiracy theories, accusing Republicans of outright stealing the election. Kind of rich. You know what? Sounds sore loserish.
My bad again. That was 2018. When that midterm election remarkably went their way. I'm sorry. This is what they're saying today about the 2020 election that didn't go their way.
He would have to do a lot to convince Republicans that this is anything except a left-wing power grab financed by people like George Soros.
We had computer glitches that changed Republican votes to Democrat votes. You look in Pennsylvania, dead people voted in Pennsylvania.
There's a software called Hammer and Scorecard used to flip votes from Trump to Biden. Is that indeed true?
We've had hundreds of thousands of ballots mysteriously appear for solely for Mr. Biden.
Fraud. Oh, this can't be right. They're cheating. They're stealing the election. But another problem with Republicans is they lie too much. You got to have proof. You can't just say it's fraud or being stolen. I mean, you guys just said that in 2016 and in 2018. But once again, this is also proof of how hypocritical the Republican Party is. I mean, this dude comes out and tweets that he is claiming states as if it's that childhood game that you would play with your homies called That's My Car. That's my state. I mean, really? Is this presidential? I think not. But he was trying to say was that, of course, the polling place is closed. No more votes can be done. We all agree with that. But what he wanted was at midnight of the 3rd, the first minute of the 4th of November, to be declared winner even if all votes haven't been counted. How? Because you're Donald Trump? Man, stop that shit. However, he didn't realize that millions of votes were received in time and are legal as mail-in ballots because one person in the household arranged for everyone in their household to vote and mailed them all off themselves. So no, COVID not only did not help voter suppression, it destroyed it. And of course, the response has been epic. Check it out.
Count the votes.
I mean, you can't make this shit up. How is it people have nothing better to do than to protest outside a voting county place to scream at the people who are doing their job? The irony in this is just imagine being Donald Trump sitting in the White House watching the very seat being stripped from him by the urban communities of battleground states. Now that's epic. So far, I mean, it's been, 10 lawsuits that have been thrown out. And even if they succeeded, the number of votes that would be removed won't flip the state. How do you prove things in court if you're a habitual liar? And all your underlings align with you? I mean, look what this fool said.
Is the State Department currently preparing to engage with the Biden transition team? And if not, at what point does a delay hamper a smooth transition or pose a risk to national security?
There will be a smooth transition to a second Trump administration.
This is the Secretary of State? He's supposed to be for the people. Wow. He's a bitch. Then, I mean, really, these are the people that are supposed to be leading the fight into this?
Not a single Republican has been able to look at any one of these mail ballots. They could be from Mars, as far as we're concerned, or they could be from the Democratic National Committee. Joe Biden could have voted 50 times, as far as we know, or 5,000 times.
Giuliani? Come on. And I mean, did he really say this?
Do you think we're stupid? You think we're fools? You know something?
Yes. Damn it, yes. You look stupid as shit. And the trumpets online are really believing that there is hope. No, there is votes still being counted for Joe Biden, but for Trump also. Just more for Biden, and that's that. Come with some concrete evidence of voter fraud that will flip the entire election, or shut the fuck up. You people are looking real sad right now. I mean, what is this?
The Biden crime family stealing this election. The media's covering up. We want our freedom for the world. Give us our freedom, Joe Biden. Your Biden's covering up this election. He's stealing it. Where were we?
And the guy on the microphone acted like nothing happened. That's a true American right there. He didn't let this delusional lunatic phase him one bit. I mean, look at this clown. He thought he was going to look more threatening than stupid. And he was wrong. The moment he said Biden crime family, everyone there was like, okay, let him scream. He's obviously delusional. Could you imagine being here right now? I know he wants that moment back. For real. And if I was one of his friends, I'd be roasting the shit out of him, how stupid he fucking looked. And how about the supposed real news outlets?
You saw something suspicious, we're going to get right into it tonight, happening on the side of a Biden-Harris van in the parking lot of the polling station. Now walk the audience through what happened.
I went out to go for a walk on my break, and I probably had a 150, 175-foot stretch where I was walking. The Biden van was parked along this stretch, and I was walking to it, so about 150 feet I was walking, and I could see these people hand over what appeared to be white envelopes, just hand over onto this table. And as I got closer, the envelopes were being torn open. There were two people dropping the envelopes and two people ripping them open and turning and facing the van and drawing on them or marking them. And as I got closer, as I was walking, they would put things down and pick more paper up and mark on the van and then put it down and pick some more up. And as I got closer, I thought, those are ballots.
Come on, people. So wait. There are people that are executing voter fraud in a major election, pulled up to the voting county facility in a Biden-Harris van, in clear sight of random poll workers that are on break and commence to complete the voter fraud in the parking lot. I mean, they weren't even smart enough to do it in private and allowed a random poll worker to walk up on them and see they are committing fraud, and we're supposed to believe this shit? And then she said what appeared to be ballots. Now, if this was something CNN would have done to Trump in 2016, what would they have been doing to this type of interview? They would have laughed all the way to the bank. My question at this point is, why couldn't he just lose? Why can't just more people in America have voted for Biden? What is it? Is it because the voter suppression was supposed to work and it didn't? I mean, have we forgot that Trump only won 2016 by less than 80,000 votes in 3 states? Really? I really would like to hear the pander puppets explain why there was just no way he could lose by voter turnout. There isn't a policy you can name, there isn't a moment in time that you can bring up that says he was a shoo-in for re-election. Not one. And there's no way in hell that you could sell to society that a candidate gets the most votes ever in history of the U.S. and loses. Not today. We're not going for it. George Bush Jr., take a bow. Your crown as the worst president ever has now been passed to Don the Con Chump. So shout out to Pennsylvania, shout out to Georgia, Michigan, Wisconsin, and all the states that made the difference in this election. You are appreciated. Joe Biden, I'll see you in the come to J2dasin moment. And last but not least, on the WTF report, people, I'm gonna go back to GA for a second, because Georgia, all eyes are on Georgia at this moment. The crucial piece to this is in your hands. Now, as 2 Senate seats are up for grabs in the runoffs that will be held in January, it is imperative that you show up for this, just like you showed up for the presidential election. People tend to complain about the Democrats getting into power and not doing anything, especially for the black community and the black vote. But we must realize, as long as this guy right here is running the Senate, nothing will happen. Mitch McConnell is on his 7th term. Over 30 years he's been in the Senate, which is a whole other problem for a whole nother show. But if he remains in control of the Senate, the Biden administration will have a hard time getting things done that will benefit the communities that actually put the Biden administration in the seat. So me personally, I have faith that the ATL and the surrounding areas are going to represent, but I have to reiterate how important this is and why. Especially now that Trump has lost, these Republicans are going to have a little chip on their shoulder because they expected another 4 years of control. But if these 2 seats are taken by Democrats, then it will be an even Senate, and the vice president will be the deciding vote. That is correct. Vice President Kamala Harris will be the deciding vote, which I believe is how it should be in the first place. All the time, actually. The Republican Party has already tried to get the Secretary of State to resign before the recount in Georgia. Of course he didn't. However, you could just imagine what they're going to try to do in the time they have before this runoff. Get out there and let's give this new administration the power that it needs to actually make change and hold them to it. And that's the WTF report for this episode. A great segue into my next segment, which I like to call the Come to J2dasin moment. Let's get it. Gather round, ladies and gentlemen. It is now time to have a Come to J2dasin moment. Alright people, this week's Come to J2dasin moment is brought to you by Joe Biden and his past. President Biden, you really said this in your acceptance speech?
I mean it, especially those moments. And especially for those moments when this campaign was at its lowest ebb, the African-American community stood up again for me. You've always had my back, and I'll have yours.
Now, this right here, I hope is something that you actually live up to. We all know that a lot of the African American community voted for you simply because they wanted Donald Trump out the damn seat. Not because they thought you would be a better president, but because they just wanted to send a message to the racist bigots that we are not accepting that shit no longer. Your previous history in your career is not one of a person who can say this and not think we aren't going to be on your ass every single day of this administration and hold you accountable for it. Your 94 crime bill is a stain in the minority community. Vice President Harris's record as a prosecutor is a stain in the minority community. We really could care less about an apology for this 94 crime bill. This is both of your chances to make good on the past decisions you've made that have affected the black and brown communities in a major way. This is not an opinion. This is facts that are clearly documented. Now, there are a lot of African Americans that are upset that you won because they don't have the trust that you will make good on this favor they have done for you and Kamala Harris. That's why it's very important that a black agenda is set forth in your first 100 days. I understand we are facing a pandemic of epic proportions, but hell, that is even affecting the black community in a major way. I can understand that you will be walking into the White House and have to clean up a complete disaster that is being left behind by the white privileged, spoiled brat crybaby that is hiding behind the seat right now. But that still isn't an excuse for you not to come through and heal the wounds that you opened in the minority community decades ago. Something has to be clearly put into play that begins to put American descendants of slavery into economic inclusion. I hate to say it, but I don't have any confidence that this is going to happen. And I wanted to go on record saying that. I really don't believe it will happen, especially if the runoff in Georgia goes to the Republicans and they control the Senate. We of course know who will be controlling shit then. If the runoff goes in favor of the Democrats and the Senate is even, this is even more of a chance for you to pay the debt you owe. I brought you into the come to J2dasin moment to let you know we are not going to stop at just getting Donald Trump out the seat. We're going to be here in your face and on your ass to make sure that you remember not only what you did in the past, but what was done for you here in 2020. Please know, it was not because you're a great candidate. It's because the person you were up against was so horrible, your past didn't come back to bite you in the ass this time. And that's the show for this week. Hope to see you next time on the J2dasin show. I'm your host, J2dasin, the KC veteran. All faith from within, straight facts, no spin. I intend to offend, ain't no need to pretend. This has been a break into the matrix, and now it's time to put your ass back in. Tell a friend, bitch.
How are they stealing the election?
Because they're putting voter fraud. It's suspicious.
How are they putting voter fraud? Department of Homeland Security said it was the most secure election America's ever.
Who's that? That's one guy like you and me, brosif.
That's Donald.
One guy like you and me.
That's Donald Trump's Department of Homeland Security. You're in politics.
I am the regional Tea Party chairman in Fredericksburg, baby.
You're the Tea Party?
I'm the Tea Party, baby. I'm the regional Tea Party chairman in the Fredericksburg region. Come on, fake news. What you got? Go find yourself a safe space. We are patriots.
Let me get this straight. You're yelling at me to find a safe space, and you have elevated yourself with a megaphone, and you have a shield.
Yeah! J2dasin, 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 J2dasin.